I was always put in classes with, in special ed classes with the retarded kids. I remember I had a teacher make fun of me in front of the class and then grab me and throw me in a closet and lock me in a closet and said, "This is where we put retards."
He's not lying. Stan, no.
Stan Romanek, I've been at his home. It's sort of like the Matrix, and I'm Morpheus giving you a red pill here. There's somebody pulling the strings behind the scenes. My Jewish mother-in-law went, "Oh, 𝗖𝗆𝗱𝗏." Now I'm married to a Jewish woman for 32 years, and 𝗖𝗆𝗆𝗄𝗃, I know all the Yiddish. I know more Yiddish than most Jews because we lived in Israel for 3 years. When you're doing this work, now this is the crop circle, not the one we were in just then, there's another one that appeared the night we arrived in England. And it's very complex, has a sort of a 𝗧𝗍𝗍𝗶𝘁𝗍 motif with the triangle. We did our puja right about here. And in the very center of it, when we were there, the detectors we put in the very center of the vortex of this crop circle, and they started going off. I was raised a very, very devout atheist, and they were very, orthodox atheists. It would collapse the orthodox belief systems of every organized religion on earth. And I said, well, good. And this is exactly what Lawrence Rockefeller said to me. I was standing out on his deck in the Grand Tetons. They own the Tetons. Of course, Rockefellers owned everything. And they gave it to if you've ever been to Grand Teton National Park, that was all owned by the Rockefeller family, but they kept out this absolutely amazing ranch where I've been there.
In 1972, suddenly 3 years later, I got, treated as very special. And this treatment had a lot to do with the excitement that David Rockefeller felt over the fact that he loved being behind the scenes, creating this slave, this elite sex slave, who was going to make him millions. And I was already sold in the first year. David Rockefeller was a pedophile. There's a lot of survivors. I work with survivors. There are a lot of survivors out there of David Rockefeller. The way that you're trained in mind control training, it's based on torture. What I was used to doing as a child sex slave was to please men in some way or other, to get on their wavelength so that they wouldn't harm me, so that I could survive.
False flags already happened, but they've been beta testing the system with these kinds of events. That's not extraterrestrial. That's man-made, probably out of the Boeing Phantom Works out of Seattle. And they were just seeing what the public would do. So people were stopped on the freeway reporting it. Tens of thousands of people saw these. Silent, a little bit of a humming sound like a transformer. 100% man-made. 100% fooled everyone looking at it, thought it was E.T. This is what I'm saying. The false flags already happened. But they've been beta testing the system with these kinds of events. Another one that was reported are the big flying triangles, 200-300 feet across. Remember these? Belgium, other places. Look underneath. False flags already happened. But they've been beta testing the system with these kinds of events. So these have been reported, and they have a grid structure, very manufactured, very man-made. Silent, except for a little bit of a humming sound when you're close. Electromagnetogravitics, floats along. Now, here's another layer of confusion that I didn't get a chance to share this with Mr. 𝗧𝗏. There are extraterrestrial objects that look like and approximate the man-made ones. Now, you want to get a little more confused. Consider that if there's an extraterrestrial event that happens, they will then put up a man-made one, and they'll hoax a man-made event piggybacking on an extraterrestrial one, just to really confuse the picture. And that's happened many, many times.
All the way back to the Clinton era, I had recommended a period of amnesty. for people who've been involved in these programs. And even though there have been some horrific things done, kidnappings, murder, torture, embezzlement of, in the aggregate, probably trillions of dollars of federal monies, et cetera, and so on, that if people come forward and they actually come clean and or agree to make a new chapter happen that's a beautiful development for humanity, that they have amnesty extended to them.
Well, it appears they're studying human sexuality. And by golly, it looks like they're studying human pleasure and pain responses as well, from what the abductees are telling us is going on. Why do you do sexual molestations to a 5-year-old to crossbreed?
I'm getting the word nonce.